Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. To honorable person, Mr. Dr. Kaharuddin SIPM Hume, and all of you guys whenever and wherever you watching this video. My name is Nurul Fatima Zahra. I'm from English Education Department, Class A of 2023, Tarbiyah and Teaching Science Faculty of Alauddin State Islamic University of Makassar. So in this video, I will explain and answer about question word patterns or inflection part 2. First question, do you agree with saying that inflection for adjective occur in comparison? Explain your answer and give an example. From my own understanding, yes, I agree that inflection occur in adjectives during comparison. Because in the book we can see in the page 116 it says inflection that in adjectives is usually used to express the grammatical function of comparison, and native English speakers usually says that commonly use three different degrees of comparison. They are positive, comparative, and superlative forms of. For the positive forms, inflection does not occur because it simply describes a basic quality without making any comparisons. So when we say this bus is old, the word old just describes the bus itself without indicating whether it's older than another bus or the oldest. Comparative is used to compare the quality of one thing with another. To form it add er to the adjective or use more for longer adjectives. Example, we can say John is stronger than me. Superlative is used to indicate that something has the highest quality among others. To create it, add est or s to the adjective or use most for longer adjective. Example, we can say Ellie's house is the largest one in her neighborhood. Question number 2. To the best of your knowledge, does inflection occur in all types of comparison? Explain your answer and give examples. My answer is no. It is also mentioned on page 116 that inflection on adjectives only occur in comparative and superlative forms of comparison, not the positive forms. The positive forms simply describes a basic quality of the noun without any comparison, so it doesn't need inflection. Inflection is used to add er or est to the adjective in comparative and superlative forms to indicate more or most of quality. Example, for positive, we can say this car is fast. And comparative, we can say this red car is faster than the black car. And superlative, we can say this is the fastest car I've ever seen. The question number 3. How does inflection take place in types of comparison? Explain your answer by referring to the rules and give examples. Inflection in comparative and superlative forms typically occurs through the addition of specific suffixes to adjectives. For one-syllable adjective, the comparative form is usually created by adding er and superlative by adding est. For adjectives, we with two syllables ending in y change the y to I before to L before ending R or AST. For longer adjective, usually with 3 or more syllables, use more for the comparative and most for the superlative rather than inflecting the word itself. For example, for a short adjective, Old becomes older, it's comparative, and oldest is superlative. For an adjective in Y, we can have we can say word happy becomes happier and happiest. And for a longer adjective, for example, word expensive becomes more expensive or and most expensive. Next question. What do you know of inflection of verbs? Explain your answer and give examples. My answer is inflection of verbs are changes made to a verb to convey various grammatical meanings, such as tense, aspect, voice, mood, person, and number. In English, verb inflection primarily involves adding suffixes or changing the form of the verb itself to indicate when an action occurs or to reflect other grammatical aspects. Tense, present tense. This tense often involves adding s or es for the third person singular form in the simple present. For example, he runs fast. The word runs is the inflected form the third person singular present tense. Past tense. Regular verbs use the ed suffix while irregular verbs change their form. Example is they walked to the park or she wrote a letter. 2 is aspects. English use different verbs formed to show whether an action is completed or ongoing. The progressive aspect is shown with the ing suffix, while the perfect aspect uses auxiliary verbs like have or has plus the past participle. For example, we can say she is running, progressive aspect, or he has eaten, perfect aspect. Next question. What do you know of aspects in English? How many types of aspect can you recognize? Explain your answer and give examples. So, aspect in English represent how an action unfolds over time and are considered a component of tense, sometimes even viewed as tense subcategories. Aspects give additional information about the duration or nature of an action within a specific period, indicating whether an action is completed, ongoing, or continuous. There are 4 types of aspects in English. First is First is simple aspect. This aspect presents action as straightforward facts or completed event without focusing on their duration. Present simple, I wash my car every weekend. And the past simple is I washed my car yesterday. 2 is progressive aspect. This aspect emphasizes the ongoing or continuous nature of an action. Present progressive, I am washing my car right now. And the past progressive is I was washing my car when it started raining. 3 is perfect aspects. This aspect shows that an action was completed before a certain point, often focus on the result. Present perfect, I have washed my car already. And the past perfect is I had washed my car before we went out. The last aspect is perfect progressive. This aspect combines aspects of both continue and completion, showing an action that started in the past and in the relevant or still ongoing at a particular point. Present perfect progressive. I have been washing my car for an hour. And past perfect progressive is I had been washing my car for an hour before the raining started. The last question is, what do you know of word formation? How many types of word formation can you recognize? Explain your answer in detail and give example. Word formation is the process of creating new words in language by manipulating morphemes, the smallest meaning-bearing units in a language. This process can change both meaning and sometimes the grammatical class of a word. Word formation can be categorized into several types based on productivity, which refers to how frequently or widely each type is used to create new words. Types of word formation is 1. Productive word formation. This one is commonly used and result in new words that easily enter the language. Two primary productive methods are compounding. Compounding involves two or more free morphemes to form a new word. There are several perspectives on compounding. Semantic perspective, endoric compounds. These compounds have predictable meaning derived from the meanings of their components. For example, toothpaste is a type of paste used for teeth. Eccentric compounds. These compounds have unpredictable meaning that isn't directly derived from their components. For example, red hat refers to someone with red hair, not the literal head that is red. Syntactic perspective. Compounds can be classified based on their past of speech. Compound nouns is notebook. Compound verb is spoon feed. Compound adjective is high speed. Compound adverb is somewhere. And the last is derivation. Derivation involves adding affixes, prefix or suffix to a root word to create a new word. This process often changes the part of speech. For example, adding ness to word happy. Create word happiness. Adjective to noun. Adding an to word happy. Create unhappy. Positive to negative adjective. And less productive word formation. Less productive word formation are less frequently used but still contribute to word formation in English. Some examples include coinage, creating completely new words, often brand names like Kleenex or Google. Borrowing, adapting words from other languages, such as ballet is from French or piano is from Italian. Blending, combining parts of the word to create a new word like brunch, breakfast, and lunch. Clipping, shortening a longer word without changing its meaning, such as gym from gymnasium. Back formation, creating a new word by removing a supposed affix from an existing word, like forming edit from editor. Conversion, changing a word's part of speech without altering its forms, like using email as both a noun and a verb. Acronym, forming words from the initial letters of a phrase, such as NASA, National Aeronautics and Space Administration. And that's all for today's video, and I apologize if I have grammatical mistake or the explanation is unclear. Thank you for watching this video. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.